We're false advertising. You're watching BooTV. We were doing acoustic stuff.
Open mic nights.
Yeah, independently of each other, and we already knew each other through mutual friends. And then it was like, "Hey, you're doing this. Let's do something." And so we did a duet for a bit. Then we formed a band. Then that band dissolved. Then we formed another band.
But that band had Josh in it.
It did have Josh in it.
I was novelty.
Oh, nice.
And then, yeah, when we reformed again, that was false advertising.
The video we did for Dozer actually captures, in terms of like our little version of the scene we sort of are in, but definitely encapsulates that time when we started. Like there's bands like The Hyena Kill,
Bad Grammar.
Bad Grammar.
Gold Jacks were in it as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got into the sort of scene. I was just sort of into music, and then lived in Manchester. Live in Manchester, so it was like, oh, this is the music that's around. So it kind of just happens rather than I've made a conscious effort to actively go and be part of a scene. It's just sort of whatever surrounds you.
Obviously, we're from a different time that people regard as being the punk time or whatever. But I think the spirit lives on with a lot of bands who maybe it's more out of necessity than anything. You've got to take matters into your own hands, and you've got to learn how to do more than just play an instrument and write songs. You've got to have a lot of strings to your bow. My friend's dad was like really had his ear to the ground, and when we were like 9 years old, he got given by his dad Nirvana Nevermind on cassette, and so it was literally Smells Like Teen Spirit in the car, 9 years old, just like, oh, this is real music, because it was literally the Spice Girls up to that point.
And then for me, it was my dad showed me some tapes, some cassette tapes from his band when he was like even younger than me when I heard him, I think. And there was a song on one of these tapes called Cloudy Day, and I can't remember if it was, the band was called Out of the Ashes. It's really cheesy.
I think for me it was when I was about 10 or 11, and I borrowed my next door neighbour's Foo Fighters Colour in This Shape CD, and I was like, it's really young, and I'd recently got a CD player, but I just like sat there by myself, and it wasn't a CD like I'd just like been handed down by my sister or anything, and I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I don't like this. Don't like this. and then Breakout came on, I think. No, was it Breakout or Monkey Wrench? It was Monkey Wrench, isn't
Monkey
it?
Wrench.
Monkey
and
Wrench
I was like, I love this song. And then I think that
you were like,
but it was something about like actually sort of going and borrowing a CD for myself.
It's kind of alien, really. First,
Man, it was so mad.
Weird. We'd done no like professional studio recording up until that point.
We went in on one weekend because it was Mumford & Sons were only recording weekdays, so they weren't in on the weekends, so we could go in on the weekend, and all their stuff's like still set up and stuff. I went in to do some vocal overdubs, and there was this pink shawl over the booth with a Neumann mic set up, and I was like, who was in here? And it, like yesterday, and it was like Madonna was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went on Madonna's Instagram story, and she was sat in exactly the same chair as I was.
You were sat looking at her.
Like,
What the hell? We'd done a self-release record before that wasn't on a label.
that we made in the pub.
Yeah, we made it in the pub. Yeah. Literally. And then...
did you record it in the pub as well?
Yeah, there's basically... It's a room much like this. Like a
it's like above a pub,
yeah.
It's like a studio above.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you could hear like fights breaking out. And
we helped build
it
it.
was a rough pub, that pub.
So we originally helped sort of put the studio up, didn't we?
Brain Freeze came about. Luke basically called us saying, like, I really want to work with you. And
we'd known Luke through... Luke used to be... We first met him when we played our first ever out-of-town show in Lincoln.
And he was in a band called
Blind Wives.
And it was Blind Wives, Guts, and Mums. We loved everyone on that lineup, and we're still friends with most... the people I've mentioned.
Yeah.
But like, so Luke was just this person that we really liked and respected as a musician, and then he got a job at the Church Studios in London. He'd always been doing sound engineering. So when he called us up, we were like,
yeah,
oh
sure.
my god, this is great news.
Yeah.
That was why it worked so well, because we knew by the way his band sounded and every conversation we'd had about music or prior to that point that it made a lot of sense. recording by yourself, something always like falls over, or you realise like that you've got
Floor's
the
really
monitor
creaky
wrong.
as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, you're walking around, it's like.
But like you don't have to worry about all that stuff when you're recording at a studio with someone else. So it becomes actually like, it's not easier, but I make less mistakes whenever there's someone there pressing record.
You can focus on.
You can focus on the
you're a
actual
musician.
job. But
then when you're recording yourself, you can just start again, and you can have infinite amounts of time.
Yeah, you'll do way more takes when it's recording yourself. You're like, and delete. That's delete. And not that one.
I guess you judge it more as well when you're recording yourself too.
Yeah,
you have to.
I prefer to record my vocals alone. I don't like to have an audience when I'm doing my vocals because I want to try stuff out and things like that. But guitar or drums, whatever, don't matter. But
I feel like the difference in the studio for me is like if someone's there having to tell me to go again or whatever, the pressure's on me to not have to make them do more work.
You feel like you're letting people down.
There's more pressure.
I'm doing it for them and not instead for me. Because I've done a lot of the recordings for this from home, and then it's all been sent to the church and whatever, and we've sorted it all out.
It's been a lot more of a remote process.
If I'm doing takes, it's easy because I'm just like, oh, I don't mind, so I can just do this all day and just keep going all day, and it's just, I'm not bothering anyone.
And you can see how out of time it is, and you're like, so you do like one take, and you're like, oh, that sounded good, and then you look at it, and you're like,
something I think might sound, I wouldn't be happy with that. Luke would be like, yeah, fine. I'm like, you sure?
There's some sort of untold magic in the performance which the artist doesn't necessarily see because they're being very but you've noticed something about it. It's just got a bit of magic, and so we're keeping that version. We didn't get in the same room as each other for about a year. There was a year.
I didn't rehearse for a year.
Yeah, we did some stuff to keep us busy. We did some covers and stuff.
But Jen managed to get herself a space, didn't you?
Yeah. So we still had our rehearsal space, and I lived right next to it, luckily at the time. So after a bit of obviously lockdown, couldn't do anything, everything shut down. But then after a few weeks, I was kind of like, would it be the worst thing in the world if I went by myself to the practice room and played drums? So it started off like that, and then that turned into me being like, oh, actually, and this was like every day because I had nothing else to do. And then that turned into me being like, what if I recorded the drums and started recording some of the song ideas I'd had? And then that turned into like me asking people for advice, like remotely, like, and talking to Chris, talking to our producer as well down in London. So we ended up, I ended up demoing loads of songs, all the parts, trying to record all the songs, all the parts initially myself, and then everything ended up being redone loads of times, but obviously getting these two involved as well ultimately. But through a lot of trial and error initially, it's turned into, and our producer Luke getting involved as well, it's actually turned into like quite a legitimate sounding record, which is quite funny.
Sweet. Cool. So you have another one nearly ready to go?
Sort of, yeah.
It's getting there.
Sweet.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
And like, so it started like that. We'd been to the studio before COVID as well and done a couple of tracks. That happened gradually over time, and then since then we've been back into the studio to sort of re-record bits, improve things, add other stuff, and also so it's been interesting. Like some of the songs that I've started like in a basement with like 3 microphones on a drum kit, turning into like these like massive sounding like things that actually sound okay in like an amazing studio. It's been a weird process, but hopefully the songs are good enough.
They're definitely good enough. I can say that because I didn't write them.
I've got this poster that I bought because I'm really sad, but it was only £5, where it's Robert Smith's Meltdown 2018 that we got to play, and it's like all these bands like Nine Inch Nails, Death Cab for Cutie, Deftones, and like just that, and all of those bands that are not only massive but also really, really sick. And then if you keep going, false advertising, everything you've done has sort of led up to this like really kind of clear and specific thing that people could connect with. And that's really awesome.
And you've willed it into existence.
Yeah.
You've no one's telling you to do it. You've gone and like put the time in, done the rehearsals, committed to it, and then it sort of starts to work out for you. And yeah.
2003 is such a good festival.
It's one of the best contemporary rock festivals in the country, without a shadow of a doubt.
Every minute there's like, oh no, oh, there's a band I want to see on, but I can't because I'm seeing.
No, we got to play it twice, and it just feels. I think we always kind of had a hunch that it would be exactly our audience. Like those are our kind of people on paper, at least. And therefore it would like made a lot. Like we always wanted to play, and then we got to play, and we were like, "Yep, we were right. Everyone's so nice and chilled and enjoyed it."
You can talk to anybody. Racket Cannon, the first Trees was pretty crazy. Racket Cannon, the lead singer, there was these rubber rings going around the crowd, and he dived off the stage into a rubber ring, but like stopped in the ring with his legs in the air, being crowd surfed around, and he's just screaming like, you know how Racket Cannon scream, and it was amazing. It was absolutely electric. Such a good performance. Just amazing.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I can't
top that.
I can't.
That's insane.
Can't top that. I was going to say the fridge thing at Trees, where there's a guy just dressed as a fridge.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Fridge boy.
Does he have does his door in the fridge open?
I think
Sure
so.
does, but who knows what's inside.
Does it contain refrigerated items that he's wears that he's giving out?
That's a good question. I don't know how the answer is.
Personal Space is our most recent single, and that's definitely getting.
People.
I love that one.
It feels like when we play it feels like people were waiting for that one, and then they're relieved that we've played.
I think Scars always goes down quite well. I remember when we did Great Escape and we were in that room when it was like people were like right up here, and we played Scars and it kicked off quite a lot.
Radiohead, when I was about 17 at V Festival in 2006 or 2007, something like that. And it was just like, it was one of those things that you watch and you're just like, this is so good, and I've never seen anything this good before that I've enjoyed as much. I'll probably just change it to false advertising and make it a t-shirt for our band, our dad's band.
Our dads are all musicians, so we've been meeting for a time to get them together.
So maybe we'll make them a band t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like obviously our band t-shirt, well it's their band t-shirt, but we'll sell it and we'll try and
false advertising.
Yeah, that's it.
The one I get sent all the time is when there's a chalkboard outside a bar and it says like burgers and topless barmaids and false advertising.
Yeah, like
and,
free beer.
And every time someone sends it to me, they think they're so funny. And I'm like, I've just seen that about 100 times now.
You've called them out now.
I think I've made up quite a lot of really terrible advertising ideas that qualify for this. Like when we went to America, we did like, imagine if Mazda did an advert and they got Metallica to do the soundtrack, and it was Mazda of Puppet.
Yeah, Mazda.
It was on the way back from South by Southwest, and we were getting a lift on the way to a shuttle bus to get a plane home.
Oh yeah.
We're in the lift, we're like, oh, we're running really late.
We were really late. Like it was.
The plane was boarding.
Yeah,
and we were in
the lift. We were in the lift, like, right, we need to go. And there was some people running towards the lift, like, hold the door. We're just like, no, sorry,
no, we can't.
Gotta go. And it was Idols, and we were like, oh shit.
Yeah. But then we got on the bus,
and we were like, oh, finally we made it.
And then they all just got
on. They just walked.
And we were like, we're so sorry.
At least you got to apologise afterwards.
Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah, they were so cool about it. Yeah.
Record, but yeah, it's getting there. Like
we'd like to put something out this year if possible, but otherwise it'll be throughout next year.
Sweet. And is it going to be a body of work again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
On his gravestone, it just said, I told you I was ill.
There you go. Is it Spike Milligan?